Jill, so Tony Gilroy, who has been attached to several Star Wars projects, more, I guess, famously with Rogue One, which, in my opinion, is the best out of the whole Disney bunch, by quite a bit. It's really good. I really like Rogue One. So he was stating that he was there's an article that it's posted on the direct, but it's citing deadline on it, and he's talking about the I guess the toxic criticism or the toxic attacks that Kathleen Kennedy has gotten, and I want to talk about it because we talked extensively about it last week, and you know. To be fair, and anyone that watched that video from last week, there was no and I we pride ourselves in not being toxic, right? And but at some point you gotta call things how they are, and it's again I respect her career. Like it's one of those things. She's done great things. But when you're not the right person, you're just not the right person, and we need to move on as soon as possible. And there was a report today. I don't know if you saw it that the 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 losses after the Last Jedi, like even starting with the Last Jedi, have been calculated in the billions, as I said uh, last week. So just want to put that out there, right? It's like we're not making stuff up. We're not talking about Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars because there's news out there. We don't make stuff up. We don't make fake videos. We don't say that John Favreau broke the internet and then you look for the articles and there's no articles about John Favreau, right? We don't have any sources that say things. We're not
Don't
we
wear a mask.
we don't wear a mask. We love Star Wars, and you know, but we gotta we gotta stop the buck too. It's like we have to be conscious that we gotta be objective about what's going on with Lucasfilm as a whole. So yeah, he's saying that he was shocked about the amount of vitriol and hatred that she's gotten. I know that some fans, more than one, some a vocal minority more than others, right? They're the ones that are out there putting stuff out, threats and you know saying despicable things about people that don't like and bullying people off of social media and all that, right? Again, and I want to make it clear that we're not that kind of people. Um, we love Star Wars and we respect the people that work in these projects. But if you're incompetent, we just gotta call it as it is, right? Especially when you're costing a company billions of dollars in revenue. So yeah, Joel, I just looping back. Also, it's like, and I think I made a comment last week too about myself that it could be misconstrued. I said that I'm one of the wokest people I know. I was like, it's like I got thick skin.
This
I
man never sleeps.
Dude, I got thick. So that's the thing. I got thick skin. I really don't care. People can do whatever they want. I'm the kind of person that as long as you're not hurting people, you can do whatever you want. You can call yourself whatever. I don't care. Great. And I will respect that, right? I'm not gonna be the kind of person that is like, oh no, I go by this. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll call you by that. I was like, I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it because it's not Hyper Pride Month, everyone. So just putting it out there, Joel's face foaming, he's turning red. He's gonna get me.
Oh my
But I just
gosh.
want to make it clear, right? It's like I really don't care. People can do again if you're not harming anyone, not including yourself, right? Call yourself by whatever you want. It's fine. I don't. I Great. That's awesome. So I just want to put it out there when I said that. So going back to Star Wars. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that some of the negativity has been overblown, but I think that some of the, I guess, negative feelings about how Lucasfilm has been handled since the acquisition, a lot of it is valid. A lot of it is valid, right? And we don't want to be here and be, negative Nancy and everything's bad and everything is terrible about Star Wars and they ruined my childhood, which we saw back with the prequels. It's nothing new, right? Um, but yeah, Joel, just gonna give you the opportunity, just I guess express about your feelings about the how how can we as a fandom be able to objectively criticize the things we love for and the people that are in charge of it that are not doing a great job but still maintain I guess a level head when we do these things.
It's a good question, and I think it's something we have to constantly evaluate because um sometimes we, without realizing it, I'm learning more and more there's a huge uh misunderstanding between conscious and unconscious bias. And because we're so passionate about Star Wars, a lot of times we have biases just based upon the appearance of things, and it clouds our judgment of what really is. Um, let's be real. Just because you don't like something doesn't give you the right to become um, absolutely rude, um, toxic, harmful. It's just not the place for it. And if that's what you want to be saying, it's okay to do just because you don't like something, um, you might want to check yourself because if you're something I constantly say in personal life is like, I don't dish out what I wouldn't want to be served. And it's like some people will say stuff that's just so harsh. And it's like if someone ever said that to you, you would be like, "Oh, how could they say that? Oh, I can't believe it." But then why are you saying that to other people if you can't receive it yourself? Look, I like you just mentioned about having thick skin. I think I have pretty decently thick skin myself. But at the end of the day, words still matter, and it's more symbolic and reflective of who we are. So talking about Star Wars, when you are breaking down how you feel about something as a fan, you shouldn't feel like you're not allowed to say you don't like something or something that someone's doing because you're afraid of maybe how it may be perceived or being put in a group, right? Like just because I might say that I don't think Kathleen Kennedy is the person for the job, I don't want to be put into a group of, you know, um, crazy neckbeards that are just, screaming like the most harshest things that's very personal about her when I'm just talking about Star
Yeah.
Wars. Like I'm not talking about, what she ate for lunch today. Like it's not we gotta have a level understanding of what's okay, what's not okay. And even when you are talking about Star Wars and it's something that you and I are extremely passionate about, a huge fan, spent so much time, but I've spent more time with some of these movies than I have with certain family members. I mean, I when Carrie went, dude, I felt it.
Yeah,
Like it,
it was like
it
my
was it
cool
was
aunt died or something,
it
right?
was like, yeah,
Honestly,
my
yeah.
space. The space mom is gone.
Yeah.
Like Roy was special, and not every fandom can say this. And Star Wars has been on for a long time and it's passing generations, but for it to continue for future generations, we have got to stop the divisiveness. Call it like it is. Like right now, we're saying what we realized with Kathleen Kennedy. Well, Obed made a great prediction early on. You could check it out back in 2020 and 2021, where everyone was all these reports. Oh, in August it's going to be announced that Kathleen Kennedy's gone. Oh, just wait for January, it's going to be announced. Oh, just wait for it. They were like the Xbox guys, right? Just wait.
According to some YouTube channels, she's been gone since like
She's been
2017 or something.
right.
Yeah.
She's been fired. You're gonna hear about it later. And then I remember one of the episodes, like in particular, like I purposely, I think I remember like texted it to you like on a weekend or something. I was like, look, she just did an interview with like Variety or whatever because she'd been very quiet for a period of time. Like after Rise of Skywalker, she wasn't really doing any interviews.
Yeah.
She wasn't doing a lot of public stuff and just stopped and evaluated. Here comes, the Mandalorian. Here comes the return of the Clone Wars. Here comes, these different projects that we saw that were kind of the next phase after the films. And I think like I said, I stand by my words last week, right? Where I said, yes, it is her fault, but at the same extent, I personally hold Chapek more responsible because I think the initial hire, people were like, how could she initially get hired? How could you not want to hire her on? Like it was she
Right?
had the
She got the
qualifications,
resume,
right?
dude. Honestly,
She
yeah.
George Lucas himself gave her the like the blessing, you know? I mean, it was literally a part of the deal. You can fact check this stuff, right? So letting her finish out her trilogy totally makes sense. Like I think that yes, it would have been nice to have had, some people keep her in check and say, hey, are we, sure? But at the same time, I don't think Iger meddled. He let her cook. He let her do her thing. And she was the one who was getting interfering with her own creatives. And there's a whole we can go past all that history,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
At the end of the day, Iger let her finish her trilogy. After that, that's when they should have said, thank you for your work, but respectfully, we're moving on to a new direction and bring someone else in. That was where the problem was made. I really hold Chapek responsible for that, and I stick by that. I think a lot of people just keep just wanting to hate on her. Like, here's another thing I say often. Also, man, like if we blame everyone else for our failures, but only take responsibility for our successes, like that's narcissism, right? And like when you see this with Kathleen Kennedy, we can't be the same way with her. Like this is when we're talking about. You just talked about being level headed. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with her, right? Like you can't be like, okay, so I love the Mandalorian. Well, that's not her. That's all John
That's
and
John
Dave.
Favreau. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
John Favreau and
That's
Dave. Oh,
a lot of people in the
but when the
fandom.
last
Yeah, a lot of people in the fandom seem to be like, "Oh yeah, that's because she's not interfering." Dude, when they do those roundtable things, she's there. I was
she's
like, "Are you
there,
kidding me, man?"
literally, right?
Yeah,
Oh, but when the Last Jedi is bad, oh, that's
that's
not.
her.
No,
Yeah,
do I believe she has done more harm than good? Yes.
yeah.
Like 75% of it has been bad. 25% of it has been like, huh. And then like, and in that 25%, like 15% of it has been like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what I'm seeing. This is incredible.
Yeah.
That's your Andors, that's your last 3 episodes of Clone Wars. That's your,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
that's Luke and Mando and
the Luke
yeah,
Commando,
exactly.
like those things that stuff
Soka,
was allowed,
yeah,
right? But more harm than good. So I just think when you just mentioned that about level head, like that's just me just more venting and just expressing how I feel
yeah,
about
yeah,
like
yeah.
that's just with Star Wars. But I think with a lot of fandoms, you could see that where people just want to just find an excuse to blame the bad on some and the good on others. And like John Favreau has done some stuff with, Mando and like Dave Filoni was involved with the Book of Boba Fett. Not
Yeah.
everybody liked Book of Boba Fett. You can't just pass the book only to Kathleen. There's
Yeah.
a
Or say
big
or blame
process.
Robert Rodriguez for it. It's like,
Or
why would
blame
you bring
Robert
Robert
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez for this thing? And he's not a good director, which he is, right? But he's very
Right,
passionate about Star Wars. It's
right.
been very clear, for a long time. So
That's my rant on level headedness in the
no,
fandom
and
with Star
yeah,
Wars
totally.
and I think what this guy said in this interview, right? What Gilroy said here was basically pointing out the personal stuff, right? Like when
Yeah,
you cross a line where you just have to make it so personal,
yeah, exactly.
guys,
And
stop.
you don't have to like it.
The executive should never make it personal. Like I made a joke about being like a neck beard or whatever, this kind of stuff, right? Like that's just I'm being playful, okay? Like I'm not
Yeah,
actually like canceling people because of how they look or something. I'm, you know,
Pac Man.
I need to shave myself. But but what I am saying is like it should be never crossing a line where you make it
Yeah,
about this sector of people, this group of people. Like it's just Star Wars. Let's not make it
yeah,
political. Let's not make it like oh, because she's a woman and it's a man. Like this
yeah,
stuff becomes just if you don't like what she's doing, we just don't like what she's doing.
yeah.
We
We don't
like
like
what
what
this is.
exactly.
We
Yeah,
like what this
we
is.
can we
Keep
can
it there. Move on.
yeah, we can say that, and that's the main thing, right? And I think that for I mean a lot of I guess YouTube channels that cover Star Wars more adamantly that we do, like we love Star Wars, right? But that's not we cover a broad range of topics in the show, so. Uh, it's very tribalistic too. It's like you see it in the comments. You go down in the comments and everyone's the same and no one says anything different, right? They're all the same thing. And it's like it's this outrage bait basically. A lot of it that's out there is outrage bait and and it pays off, dude. It's I mean,
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
clear that outrage bait
Yeah.
will get you a lot of hits, and it will get you a lot of clicks, and it will get you a lot of money. But we don't want to be
Yeah.
those guys, right? We want to be like, we still want to be able to criticize Star Wars and say it's like, hey, I don't agree with this choice. Book of Boba Fett, solid 6.5, you know, had its moments, but as a whole, I cannot say that it was a masterpiece. But I can also say that it was not garbage, right? Because I've seen way worse things than the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So, you know, we have to
Have you
be
seen
able.
She-Hulk?
I can say wholeheartedly, Joe, that She-Hulk was trash.
That was bad.
It was bad.
That was actually
And
bad.
I'm not,
Like,
and again, I'm not putting it on the, whoever was involved with the project. I'm just telling
no.
you, it's like, hey, you made this project. Unfortunately, your project is not good.
Right. I will
And that's
not
it.
attack
And
or
I will
start making
stop it.
assumptions and that that's it. It just wasn't good.
And we'll stop at
Yeah.
that, right? And yeah, She-Hulk's it's not good.
Not
Not
good.
like not by any stretch of the imagination. But we're not here trashing the writers. It was like, oh, they hired these writers that never had writing experience, or they did writing for this other menial thing and gave them a full like MCU show, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, right? I don't care. I like I said, I don't care. I don't care, right? But what if your thing's not good, you're gonna get told it's not good. It's like when you go to school, right? And you get a bad grade. It's like, hey, you got a D. It's like, how can I get a D? I'm so and so. It's like, yeah, you got a D, and
Right.
that's
Your
it.
work wasn't good.
And your work wasn't good, and that's the facts, right?
What a great analogy.
You know, that's that's it. You know, yeah, you can probably fight it, but it's probably not gonna get you.
Yeah.
Usually the way that you redeem yourself is by redoing it or doing something extra to try to correct your problem, which is they are not
Ah.
doing.
Right. We want to move forward. We don't want Star Wars
Yeah.
to be where it is. We want it to move forward.